Hi, Ander, and thank you for joining our podcast today.
It's a pleasure. Happy to be here and to talk about everything.
Yeah, perfect. We're really happy to have you here as well. So maybe just to start, for those who aren't familiar with you, maybe you could just say shortly who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Ander Mirambell. I'm from Barcelona. Now, in this moment, I'm in Germany because I'm training in a training camp. My sport is skeleton. I have been in 3 Olympic Games, Vancouver 2010, Sochi 2014, and Pyeongchang 2018. And this was a crazy history because one day I was watching on TV Cool Runnings, the Jamaican movie where some crazy athletes from Jamaica tried to go to Olympic Games to Calgary, and they did it. So I thought to myself, why not? I can do that. So my original plan was to try bobsleigh, but it was impossible because Spain and Barcelona, we don't have winter sports, and it was too expensive to create a bobsleigh team. So I decided to try skeleton. Skeleton is a sport where you go with the head first, lying on a sled, and you need to push like a track and field athlete, and then relax and try to slide as good as you can, like F1 pilot. And this is how it started in 2005. So now I'm on 2020 to 2021. So this means my 16th season. So I think it's a long time sliding on a sled.
Yeah, of course. And you started pretty late then, when you were, I think, 22 with skeleton, right?
Yes, correct. My background was track and field, and before I was playing football, I had the opportunity to try to do trials for Espanyol. It's a club from La Liga from Spain, and I missed the chance to be in the B team under 16 at this time. And then I moved to track and field, and I was able to race in the Spanish Championship. I went to clubs European Championship, but I was never good enough to be an Olympic athlete. And my dream as a kid was to be a football player in Espanyol. That was impossible. And the other one was to be Olympic athlete, and I made it in skeleton.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you said obviously you started in 2005 with skeleton.
Yes.
And like you said, you're from Barcelona. And you also said that Spain is not really the ideal place when it comes to winter sports, right? So I understand that in the beginning it was quite difficult because there was nobody doing skeleton in Spain. So there was not like a lot of, funding maybe for the sport. And I guess it was quite difficult for you in the beginning. How did you look at that? When you first saw the interest for skeleton, how did you start if there was not really a lot of people in Spain doing this?
Well, there was nothing at this point in 2005. I think there were two key points. The first one, it was a personal motivation. One of my best friends who was doing track and field, he died by cancer. And also I have an amazing relationship with the girlfriend at this point, and it was also done. So I was feeling alone with no motivation, looking up to find out something that it was special for me. And when I saw the movie and I started searching and I was working on it, it became like something magic, no? And then I put all my energy on it. The hardest part was all the politicals from the sport, all the federation things that no one trusts a guy of 22 years old guy that wanted to do skeleton in Spain. That was completely crazy. At this point, we didn't have ice federation. It was all in like a winter federation where all the winter sports were together. So it was impossible to get anything, no? And well, I'll decide to do it everything by myself. I had not a lot of money. No, I had the money from the last 3-4 summers. I was keeping this money to buy a car, and I decided to put all this money on the sport. So it was a little bit crazy, but the motivation, and when you have a dream and when you think you can do something special in your life, that was my best tool and my best motivation to try it. And then, well, you can do whatever you want to do, but if you stop doing it, it's the worst thing you can do it. So when someone was coming to me and say, hey, Andy, there is no federation, what are you going to do this? Or when I call, I think it was 52 sponsors or companies to find a sponsor, and only one helped me to buy the sled. So it was another no. We say, why I need to stop? There are a lot of companies in Spain. I just need to go and try. And all these hard moments become like energy for me. And once you arrive to the ice, I was the happiest man in the world, and no one can stop me from there to Olympics.
Yeah, of course. So how did you do in the beginning then, like with a coach and everything? Did you just figure everything out by yourself, or how was that process?
But it was horrible at the beginning. I just arrived to the school, and we didn't have any shoes, any helmet, anything. I bought the helmet online, and we create our own shoes. I saw the shoes, skeleton shoes on internet, and we decided with a friend Alberto and Rafaelo, we decided to create our own shoes. So we use a cheese grater and also some sandpaper. We took our track and field old shoes out, took out the spikes, and put all together like we saw in a picture, and it was wow, it was a really fun history. Also, it was in the newspaper in Austria when we arrived about this, no. But once you arrive there, you're alone. Try to make new friends. Try to travel with someone. And I was lucky. Like 1 year after my first season, I met Uli. Uli is Uli Geisbuller. He's a Swiss guy. He was my first coach, and it's like the typical Swiss man, like Heidi, the cartoons. So he was like the old father from Haiti, and it was a typical Swiss guy, but with an amazing heart. And he just started to become my coach and my sport father, we can say, because he was helping me to find out a place to buy sled, to buy runners, to buy clothes. I was really lucky to find someone like him, and he was supporting a friend of mine who was from Bermuda, another one from Slovenia. So we create like a small nation team, and our 3-4, also Joska from Holland. So our 4, we start traveling together, no? But the first year was really, really hard, driving from Barcelona alone, without knowing anything, just sliding, hitting everywhere, crashing. Once I finished in the hospital and they need surgery for my fingers, so it was a big mess. But this is part of the history.
Yeah, totally worth it now when we know what happens after, of course.
Yes, and I think it's not good when you say, yeah, now you are Olympic and this. But when I look back and I see what are the best moments in my sports career, I'm for sure all these hard moments are completely one of my favorites, because this is a real sport. This is where someone tries to fight for a dream and fight without tools. No problem. I can do it. I need to go down without a sled. No problem. I use my ass if it's necessary. No, so it's something that the human has, and not so much people took them out from them to create their own projects. No, and in my situation, I was lucky to find this inside me and put everything on the ice.
Yeah, of course. A lot of the time when I was, reading about you and stuff, it always came up the word creativity. And it's basically what you said now, like, it doesn't matter what I have. I mean, I'll make it work with whatever. So what would you say that means to you, looking back? Is it just trying to make it with whatever you have, or what was your determination or kind of your outlook on it?
When I try to give some motivational speech to companies, everyone asks me about endurance, motivation, leadership, team working. But I always tell them that one of my important tools is the creativity, and everyone has creativity. Maybe people has more potential in this area or less, but this is really important. It's not to create a sled, or it's not about creating a shoes. It's about finding a solution from every problem that can happen every day. And you need to think what's the best solution for this problem. If you do this exercise, you are using your creativity. And this is one of the most important things I did every day during these 16 seasons. And when I try to explain the problems, we can talk about where I'm going to sleep when everything is closed, what will happen when my sled is broken, who I should ask who can help me about this corner, or there are always problems and situations that you need to think a little bit more to find out the solution. So for me, this is creativity. And then, of course, you have your magic moments when you create your own shoes, or when you do something different. But this happens once every, 10 years. But the rest, day by day, you need to use your creativity to find solutions and to keep going. And this is a really important thing in sports career from any athlete.
Yeah, of course. And I guess, when you have your eyes set on something, you have that goal, you really do whatever it takes, essentially to get there.
Yeah, I can give you an example now. Here, not so far from here, from Germany, in Austria, in 5 or 6 hours from Koenigsee, there is a doctor, an eyes doctor. So I contact him and we start working together to improve my eyes. And when I explain them how you can improve your eyes, why do you need to improve your eyes? But I tell to the people, if you use your eyes, you can improve your sliding, or you can improve a lot of things, because the eyes are like a muscle. So if you train, you can see more things when you slide down. And this is part of our life. So I start working during the summer with this professional, with some exercises. So if normally when I slide down, I can see 3 things, after this, I can see 4, 5, 6, and I have more information, and then it's easier to take the right decision. So this is part of the creativity. Find people who can support you to improve your level. And it's not always about buying the best sled or to have the best traveling. It's to find the right tools in the right moment.
Yeah, of course. So whenever you started skeleton, then your dream was already the Olympics. You had your eyes set on that right away, or was it something you tried out first, or how did it work?
Yeah, you normally think that the Olympics are the goal, but when I arrived to a track, and I had a friend, Matthias Berger, I was with his father. He was one of the best Austrian athletes. I told him, well, one day I want to be in the World Cup. This will be amazing. And once you're in the World Cup, you say, hey, one day I want to be in the World Championship. Wow, that's amazing. And once you're in the World Championship, you say, okay, I'm with the 30, the 20 best in the world. Why not? Why I cannot be in the Olympics? And then you make it. Of course, that when you start, you always think with Olympic Games, but it's not realistic. It's more like a super dream. But once you go a step and you are closer and closer, it becomes real. And this is how the motivation keeps going and keeps growing and growing and growing, because when you are close, you feel that you can do everything to achieve this goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've been very successful with this as well. Like you said, you went to the Olympics 3 times already. The first time in 2010. So that was, around 4 years after you started with skeleton. So I mean, that's super impressive, first of all. But can you try to describe that feeling, when you finally made it the first time you got to compete at the Olympics?
Oof, it's difficult to explain. It's a really emotional feeling. It's something special. And for me, during the Olympic Games, there are 2 really important moments. First, when we stopped the bus and we were arriving to the opening ceremony, it was like 500 meters of a walk. And in the both sides was all the volunteers who were clapping to you. And this amazing moment was crazy, because you feel like a superstar, like a rock star. And once you go into the stadium and they say Spain, and you go inside and you see all the lights and everything, you say, oh my God, what this? I'm now an Olympic. I don't care if the guy in front of me has a gold medal or is going to fight for a gold medal. Now it's starting the Olympic Games. We start from zero. And this is amazing. And then the second moment, and for me it's really important, is the family. So I had the chance and the opportunity to have my family in Vancouver. I think it was 10 or 12 people who came from Barcelona. And when I arrived to the finish line, I left the sled in the track. I jump into the stands and I give a hug to each one. And I was crying, because it was 4 years with 2 surgeries, with a lot of money that I invest, a lot of hard moments alone in the middle of nowhere, sleeping in the airports. Once I had a crash with the car, and someone needs to put my car inside the road because I don't have winter tires. So it was so many things that only my family knows how hard was it. And to share this magic moment with them was completely amazing. So Olympics is not about result. It's not about having a tattoo in your arm or in your leg. Is something that you will have always in your heart, and no one can steal this. No one.
Yeah, of course. And that must have been amazing, like you said, sharing that also with the people that you love and that's been there and supporting you, like, to get there and to get to that point. How was it as well? I mean, you were the first, Spanish Olympic skeleton pilot. How was that to represent your country essentially at that level?
Well, it was crazy. It was amazing. With my psychologist, we tried to prepare for some media people, and I remember doing like 4 or 5 sessions, working on different questions, how to give the right message, how you need to explain the feelings, how all these things that I think every athlete should prepare when it goes to Olympic, or when they need to talk to the media. But I will never forget that at the end of these 2 weeks, the week or the 2 weeks before and the week of the Olympic Games, I did like 150 interviews. It was completely crazy. So you can see the name everywhere in newspapers, TVs, and it was completely amazing. 4 years ago, no one know what's the skeleton, and 4 years after, a lot of F1 fans from Spain, people who love the speed, were watching the race. And also, I got some message at 4-5 o'clock in the morning in Barcelona because people were watching the race in a disco. So it was completely a crazy situation. It was nice. For me, this is a consequence of what we did, because it was not only me, it was always a team. But the most important thing is that we achieved the goal, and these are consequences, are fun. But the important thing is that we were there.
Yeah, exactly. But did you feel any pressure, going there, like being the first one, having a lot of media, a lot of people, reaching out, watching you?
Yes, the pressure is always there, and the pressure was especially when I was racing, and I told to my family we'll go to the Olympics, and I didn't get the qualification until the last moment. So this was hard. Once you are there, it's pressure, but I always had the opportunity or the chance. I don't know how to say it. I always had the feeling that the pressure is something that you can create by yourself. Of course, people want the best from you, but you are able to open or to close this window from outside. So if you want to feel the pressure, you can feel it. If you don't want, not. But your best or your worst enemy is yourself. So at the end, the pressure is by yourself. And of course, people want results, and after the games, you need to go for a medal and all these things. But they don't know the reality. They don't know how much it costs to arrive to the game. So if you are able to open and close this window whenever you need it, I think you can handle the pressure. So it was hard. You feel the pressure, but I think we were trained for this, and we did a great job in the mental way. I'm sure about this.
Okay. That's good then. Like you said, I mean, I guess also with time, the more times you do it, you probably get more comfortable and know how to handle it. Like, it was probably different your third time, for example, in the Olympics compared to the first time, maybe.
Yes and no, because for me, the media and people who wants to interviews, I had the feeling or the philosophy of having them like part of my family. For example, in my home, my mom was always cooking 1 or 2 more plates, because you never know who's coming for lunch. So there was always food at home. If you come at 3, hey, someone is coming, no problem, I have some extra pasta. So I took this philosophy with me to the sport. So if someone wants a question, when I finish training, I don't care to be 5, 10, 15 minutes, and they are human, they are persons. You will have a relationship with him. Of course, it will be a professional relationship, but they are doing their work. So I can help them to do his work. He will help me to do mine. So this is how I took, and I think this was a good way to handle the pressure. And you need to be really clear when you can do it and what you need to say in each moment. If I say when I arrive to Olympic Games I will win a medal, this is going to be a big problem for me and for my team and for the media, because they will trust me. And then if I fail, it will be a big problem. So you need to be realistic and talk with your own words, and don't try to be someone that you are. And I think these are the points that will help you to handle everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That totally makes sense, for sure. And I mean, aside from the Olympics, you do a lot of other competitions as well, of course. And earlier this year, you became the first European to become a 2-time North American Cup overall champion. Your first time was in the 2015-2016 season, and then this year was the second one. So how did that feel? Is that something that means a lot to you?
Yes, because this year I started with an injury, and to do the America's Cup competition was more like a pre-season competition. This year also I started as a coach with the new kids, so I was also to be with them and help them. But we decided in the last moment to go for it, and it was hard because my baby, he's now 7 months old, Kai. Was born on 3 of December, and 48 hours of his moment, I flew away to Lake Placid to fight for the medals, and to Park City, to fight for the medals. And this was hard to leave the mom and the baby at home, at the hospital, and fly away. And this is why I really think we tried to do it. And then in January, was also crazy because I think we flew on Monday to New York. We drove to Lake Placid 5 or 6 hours, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday training, Friday and Saturday racing, and then I won the overall, and then Sunday come back. So it was completely a crazy season with a crazy calendar. And I'm really proud to win the second time the overall, because for a Spanish guy who can compete with the best Americans and the best Canadians and a lot of good athletes in this competition, so Chinese were really strong at this point too. It's something that only one athlete from North America, from USA, Zach Lan, did once. So not so many people have, only him and me has 2 times the overall. So that means it's a really, really difficult competition, and not so many athletes had the opportunity to win this overall competition. So I'm really happy. And I wish that Spain has the capacity to understand how much it costs to win. But again, it's not a winter country, so it's difficult to understand what it means to win a overall competition.
Yeah, of course. But like you say, it is truly a great achievement, especially like you said, it's only you and one other guy who's done it, and you're the first European. So it's definitely a big thing. And I mean, looking at all this hard work that you put into it, traveling and competing, how do you measure success? Is it like the medals that you win, the doing what you love, or is it that you get to travel? What is it that is the most important for you?
I think it's a mix of everything, because you need to love the sport. To do these 16 seasons, you need to have a motivation to keep improving and to keep winning. Because when you are 37 years old and you won the overall in North America, it means that you still have the fire inside. But I think the most important thing, and why I keep loving to slide down, is once you get on your helmet, everything stops. It's you, the sled, the helmet, and you just go down. And it doesn't care if it's Olympic Games, doesn't care if it's a World Cup, doesn't care if it's World Championship or just a training. It's this feeling, it's this sliding, it's this... I always say to my kids, sliding is like painting a picture, a Picasso. You need to be an artist. You need to feel the eyes. You need to feel what's going on. You need to be concentrated. And sometimes you will crash, sometimes no. Sometimes you will find the limit. Sometimes you will have the perfect line. But this is part of the art. You never will have the same run. You will have more similar runs, but you never will repeat the same run in the skeleton, because the ice conditions will be different, because the push will be different, because the line will be a little bit different. So if you can find your line, your art style, you will have a good future in this sport. So all these things, it's why a skeleton is completely amazing feeling, and something that I will be really, really sad when I stop sliding, and I will be afraid to find where will be able to find something like this, because it's difficult to explain. But once I retired, I don't know how I will find something that makes me that happy.
So if you have to look back, so far, up until this point in your career, would you be able to pick like a favorite memory or a favorite moment?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. One of the things, I was working with a mental coach, and I was working with hypnosis. Hypnosis, when they sleep you and you need to relax. And hypnosis. People think hypnosis is like the magician's tricks, that they sleep you and you act like a dog. This is completely the magic show. I'm talking about the hypnosis of the clinical hypnosis for other things, for sport. And when you work with these professionals, they ask you to choose special moments. So one of my special moments is when I won the America's Cup 2015-16 with my brother, Tony. He came with me because he finished his PhD, and he was trying to find a job as a microbiology doctor. And he told me, okay, I can send all the information by computer. I help you with coaching. And we went together, and suddenly we were winning the America's Cup. And it happens a lot of weird things because we were Spanish, and it was quite hard, this competition. So the first thing what I did, it was give him a hug. And it was this hug and this happiness of winning was amazing. And another magic moment, it's a little bit personal, but I think you deserve to know that the last Olympic Games, it was a really hard season. My mom passed away 2 months after the Olympics in Pyeongchang, and 6-7 months before, I think it was in August, they told her that she had a cancer. So it was pretty hard to leave home and call her, because I will never know if once I get back she will be there. And she told me, Ander, don't worry, I will come with you to the Olympic Games. Whatever I need to do, I will do it, but you need to qualify. So this was the hardest moment, because I got a lot of pressure this season to get to the Olympics, and sport is not mathematics. People are better than you and they beat you. If they beat you, you will not go to the games. But it was so hard. So the moment after finishing the race and giving her a hug, because she was going to Pyeongchang, Korea, from Barcelona, in not a really good health, really, she was really weak, and give her a hug and a kiss and cry with her and enjoy this moment was completely amazing, no? And you find out that sport is more than a result. Sport is a feeling, is emotional, is family, and when you can share the good and especially the bad moments with them, this is completely amazing, no? So if I need to choose these moments, they are related with my family, but I think this is what I think it makes sense in your life. We are here to create a family. We are here in this life to enjoy, but if you can share your good moments with people, it makes special. So these special moments sharing with my mom and with my brother and with my family were completely amazing. So I will took these 2 moments.
Yeah, of course, that makes sense. I can definitely understand that. It sounds like great times, like you said, despite the difficulty of the situation, you know, being able to share that with them.
Yes, because one of the problems that we have in our sport and people who watch on TV is that they only see the first, the second, and the third. But sometimes the people who finish 23rd to 21st, it's better, or it's an amazing job, because you never know what's behind this athlete, and we always forget what's going on the sport life from each one, no? And I think our society is moving to a Facebook life, where the first thing what you do when you arrive to, for example, I know a lot of athletes, when they race the 10-kilometer race every weekend, the first thing that what they do is to post the time and the position. When the people wants to show their life in this way, we are losing the value of everything, no? So I think we need to read more behind the athletes. We need to show the histories from the athletes, because this makes sense and makes it special, and give you the chance to meet them from the other side. They are not machines, they are humans, and every human have feelings. So why not to show them their histories, no? And this is one of the things I would love people understand from the athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of why we like doing these, you know, interviews or these discussions as well.
I know it. That's why I'm saying. So I'm happy to be here, because you are someone who wants to find out more about the sport or the athlete, not only about the medals or the championships.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you said, everyone has a different story, and many times if you just watch the TV and you watch, you know, the interviews after a race, all you get to hear is, okay, how is the form? How are you doing? Like, it's very short, but it's difficult to watch that and really see everything that goes on behind, you know, like you said, behind the medals and all the stories, all the sacrifice, all the challenges. So it's you know, it's important to understand that part of it as well. It's not something that comes for free or that's super easy, I guess. So yeah, that's very interesting.
Yes. So thank you for your job.
No, thank you. And these past few months, especially have been quite difficult for all of us as well. And with you being in Spain, and you know, Spain being in lockdown, having the quarantine, and you said in the beginning of the year you have had some injuries as well. How has this been for you? I mean, how has it impacted you?
Well, there are two different impacts. The first of all is a really positive impact. So I had the chance to see my baby grow up, and I was 3-4 months at home that I didn't expect, because I was working at this time for a Liga in Madrid. So normal life, I should go every week to there. But the situation gave me the opportunity to be with my family and see how the baby was growing up and improving, and stop a little bit and think what's the important things in the life. So I think it was a mental travel, a meditation moment, restart of my life. So I think it's good. And in the other side, a little bit upset because I think from this point to now, everything is changing. We don't know if we'll have season. I was training in a small apartment without resources, and it's hard also when you see a lot of people dying and a lot of crazy people don't respecting the rules. So you see one side from the society that I don't like it and it's horrible. But from other side, when I close the door from my apartment, I see my family and it's completely amazing. No? So I took the positive part, and I think in the mental way, it makes me different. It makes me give me another tools to improve myself, and I'm happy. I think it was a positive time at home.
Okay, that's great. Of course, I mean, like you said, we all have these, moments of tough times or challenges and things that we get through. But if you can see the positive instead, then that's definitely going to help you.
Yes, there is always positive and bad things, and you can choose in which side you want to be. I don't say you need to avoid the negative things. The negative things are part of our life, and we need to manage them. And this is one of the key points from the sports career. You need to understand that you will never be able to win all the races. You will have injuries. You will have problems. So why not to learn to manage all the bad things and keep the positive things as a big award? And this is how I try to survive during the situation and the lockdown and all the bad news that I was getting from families and from friends, coaches that they passed away, and say, okay, I'm still here. I need to enjoy for the people who are not here anymore. So let's have fun. And that's why we are now here in Germany. We have the opportunity to be here to train. We need to keep going. We cannot stop. The life goes on.
Yeah, of course. So if you were to look back on your career so far, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you had to face and get through?
Oof, that's a hard question. The big challenge, it was to survive in different teams. So when I was in the first 4 years, I was with Uli as a coach, but between 2010 and 2014, my federation thought that the best way to improve is to be with the British, then with the Swiss, then with the Austrians. So I think the best or the hardest challenge is to be one of them in their team without being Austrian or British or Swiss. They have their own culture. I have my own way to do things. This time was really, really hard because they tried to treat me as one of them, but they weren't. I was never one of them. I was Spanish with my style, with my way to understand the life, and a lot of great athletes I had with me during these seasons, but this was not working. But on the other side, in the positive way, I learned a lot from the best teams in Europe, and this gave me the opportunity to create my own team since 2014 to now, and this is how we are doing the things. No, so it was hard to be a Swiss athlete during that time. It was hard to be a British athlete, and it was hard to be Austrian. I did it because I need to, but when you are Spanish, Spain is completely different. You're living there, and we are really different people.
Yeah, of course. That's normal, absolutely. So now you have your own team. It's true, of course, like you said, even if you're a part of the team, it's I guess different when you're not from the actual same country. So it's a different feeling when you have your own, Spanish.
But the way to explain the corners, the way to explain the results, the way to understand the sport, for me, the situation to be an athlete, it was amazing. For them, sometimes it's like a job. And you cannot take the sport as a job. It's a sport. It's different. Of course, they get money and they get a salary and they need results and they get the pressure. But this doesn't mean you need to do it as a job. You need to use another resources, and it's difficult. It's a mental thing. It's a cultural thing. It's a way to do things, and a lot of countries they were working as 20, 30 years ago, and this should change. But it's good to be with them and to learn, but it was just a hard time at this point.
Yeah, of course, I understand that. And I mean, you spoke a little bit about injuries as well. How have you tackled that, like during your career, getting injured and not being able to compete?
Well, the hardest one were the 2 times I went to the hospital and had surgery, one in my collarbone, another one in my finger. So it was more a mental challenge. For example, once I get the crash in my collarbone, and my goal was to get the surgery as soon as possible. and start the rehabilitation as soon as possible. I was not thinking the points. I was not thinking about when we'll be back on the ice, and this how I was doing everything. No, the same when I torn my ACL in my knee. So it was also the same situation. No, everything stops. Your focus and your goal is your injury, and you try to work as hard as you can to improve every day. Sometimes it's 1 degree of movement. Sometimes it's to feel less pain. Sometimes it's to smile. Sometimes, and if you are able to smile when you have an injury, you do a big step. No, so we try to put different challenges every day and every week without thinking on the sport, without thinking the qualification, and I think this was the best way to do it.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, like you said in the beginning, also when you do skeleton, it's really going, head first down the ice. So there's obviously you're going really fast, like up to, I'm not sure what the maximum is, but hundreds of kilometers per hour. So there are some risks involved. Have you ever been, scared of injuring yourself when you do it?
Well, scared, no. I think when you are scared or afraid, you do a step backwards and you cannot slide because you need to be relaxed on the sled. So if you are really tense and you're really scared, you will not be able to slide and then you will crash. So, but there are a few moments in my career that was really hard in the mental way. First of them was in Cesana in the qualification year. I had a crash. I think it was corner 5 or corner 6. I just took the wrong decision, and I should turn down, and I turned up. I don't know why. Then I hit with my head into the roof. I turned around, so my legs were first. My head was looking to the wrong direction. I jumped and away, and then I wake up in the ice, and I lied to the doctor to slide the next day, and they gave me the green light, and I finished the race second last. I didn't finish last, so it was a pretty amazing result with a problem in the ribs. The knee was as big as 2 knees, so it was hard. But one of the important things in our sport is once you crash, you need to stand up as soon as possible and try to slide down. No, and another hard moment was in Vancouver when the luge guy from Georgia died, and we need to slide in the same track. So it's a hard moment because you are doing what something that you love, but there is always a risk. And when you slide down 145 kilometers per hour, there is always a risk. But I think every year and every season, the tracks are more safety, are more like a highways, and we can see the speeds are getting higher and higher, but the crashes are less and less. So this is a good thing. But you need to be ready and understand. I always had a interesting sentence that if you want to be one of the best athletes, you need to play with the limit. And if you cross so many times the limit, you will become a crazy guy and you will finish in the hospital. But if you are really below the limit, you will never achieve your goals. So you always need to go to this age and play around to be one of the best. So this always is a mental thing because you are always taking decisions and it's not always easy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I would like to say that I can imagine, but I can't imagine, what it is actually that you're doing.
Come on, one day. You should try it one day. We can organize something.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I was, watching some videos and everything. And I mean, for me, it must be like a crazy adrenaline kick, when you're doing this. And it's probably what you described earlier, that it's going to be difficult whenever you don't do it anymore to find something that gives you, this same feeling.
Yeah, it's like this. But if you want to try, my father tried from corner, I think 11 or 12 to 17 in Lake Placid. And there are a lot of touristic trips. So if you want, one day I can give you some tips and you can come to some track and slide like 4 or 5 corners and see what's going on.
Wow, yeah, maybe I'll try to do that. That would be cool. Yeah, absolutely cool. Then you need to teach me a little bit about, the mental part and the mental preparation that goes into that. I mean, if I were to do it, a few corners, I guess that would be less mental preparation. But I mean, for you, how much do you prepare? Like, what role does that play?
A lot. I always try. It's one of my favorite gyms. People think that you need to train and move weights. It's important, but the mental thing, it's always important, and we did a lot of crazy things to train our mind. I remember one This is a really funny history, but it was interesting. We have one of our problems is that we slide from October to March. So from March to October, we don't have any competitions, no. And one time to prepare the Olympic Games, I think it was from Sochi, or I don't remember, from Pyeongchang. I think it was from Pyeongchang, and I decided to move out from my comfort zone. So, okay, how I can move out from my comfort zone in the summertime? I should find something crazy. So what I did, I turned on in a casting of a TV show. This TV show was about magicians. I did 3 months of magician tricks to learn how to be a magician. So I went directly to the TV show. It was really hard because during 1 week I was training everywhere, in the restaurant, in a bar, people outside of the streets, if they see the trick or not, if I was a good magician. So I was trying to bring myself in a stress moment during 2, 3, 4 days and move out from the comfort zone. No, so I did the show. It was 1 minute or 2 minutes in front of the 3 best magicians in Spain, and they asked me, "Okay, Ander, why are you here?" And when I finished, I say, "I don't care if I go into the show or not. I'm really happy because I achieved my goal." And they were really shocked to say, "Why?" Because my goal was to arrive to this point and try to do my best performance in front of you. You were happy. I don't know if I will move on, but I think it was good, no? Yeah, the trick was good. So we are like, maybe it should be. Next season, they called me to be in the show directly without casting. So I think it was not too bad, no? But it was a hard moment because before the performance, I went 10 times to the toilet. I drank 1 liter of water. So the same stress as sometimes as a competition, no? And this was a good training in the mental way, no? And we try to find different ways to train our mental with hypnosis. We try with different coaches. We try to do small competitions during training, achieve different things. So we try to read and talk with people who can give you tools. And what I think about the mental world is that you have a bag and you have all the resources and your tools in your bag. So whenever you need something, you need to know how to use this and try it. So I think it's a really interesting thing that a lot of people should try and prepare, because it's not only about the sport, it can be about the company, it can be about a lot of things, no? So we should train more our minds.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, the only difference is that when you do skeleton, you don't have as much time to think about your decisions and all these type of things. So you need to train your mind to be able to make those decisions quickly.
No. You have a lot of time, because when you slide down, you have the feeling that you are going in slow motion. From outside, you go 145, but when you slide down, you can feel and you can. It's not the real word, but you can touch the ice with everything. Your sled is a part of your body, so you're touching the ice constantly. So I think everything goes really slow when you are sliding down, and you see a lot of things. So it's important to train your mind, because you don't have so much time to decide, but you have a lot of time to feel what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, of course. But you spoke before, also a lot about your family and that they've been supporting you throughout your career when you started and also in competitions. So if we speak a little bit about like motivation, inspiration, what would you say is, what was your biggest inspiration when you started? What is your biggest inspiration now? Is it your family that motivates you or other things?
Well, I think my family is always an important thing, but it's not my motivation. I'm not doing a skeleton because my family. I'm happy to share everything with my family, because it makes everything more valuable, more important, and more magic. So if I need to say some motivational things, I will say all these histories that has each one in their normal life. I don't have, of course, I'm happy to see Michael Jordan, I'm happy to see Rafa Nadal, how they train, and they are amazing athletes. But for me, it makes more sense and more motivation when I'm able to talk with a father or with a mother who's having a family, who has a job, who has trying to find time to train and achieve their goals. Say, hey, I started like them. They are doing the same. And their goal maybe is to finish a 10K race, or their goal is to play the Friday night with a team football game. So when you are able to find time of your normal life to train and to fight for your goals, these for me are the amazing histories. No, also a lot of people with handicap life, or they have handicap situations, that they are really amazing histories behind them. No, so it's not always about the people who are in the books or people who are in the TV. Is for me the motivation is more the people who lives their normal life and they find out time to achieve their sport goals. These for me are my motivation people, that they are real heroes.
Yeah, okay. So when you are, at your toughest moments and you have a lot going on with skeleton and everything, is that, what keeps you going? What keeps you, motivated to push through even through challenges and obstacles?
Well, in the hardest moments, of course, the family, because you feel the love and you need a hug or you need a kiss and they are next to you. But a lot of times, one of the things I try to do as much as I can is to go to the schools and teach them the values of the sport and explain my history and what happened in my life, how I did it to arrive to the Olympic Games. And when you see these kids looking to you as a teacher or as sometimes someone who's coming from another planet, you really find out that you are doing something amazing. And it's not about winning or losing. It's about creating a history who a lot of people will be able to learn or to use as a tool to improve their life. No, and I think sport is a good tool to teach the new generations. No, so this was also one of my motivations. No, but the biggest motivation, of course, is to achieve your own goals and to fight for them. It's not always achieving them. It's more about fighting. I cannot stop now. I cannot fall down and stay down. I need to stand up. All these things is what they make me go on and go on. Skeleton is a lone sport. A lot of moments you are traveling to the other side of the world and you are 10 hours in a plane. What do you do 10 hours in this plane? Think in yourself, find out why are you doing this, and find extra motivation. It's not always about winning or losing or finding the motivation in your family. It's about yourself. So if you don't have this fire, it's difficult. And when you have this fire, you are able to do whatever you need to do to find out the solution or to recover from an injury.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you said before that you've been, involved in sports basically your whole life, first playing football and then also doing track and field before moving to skeleton. And you spoke about, sports being really good for teaching you things. So what would you say that sports and maybe specifically skeleton has taught you in your life?
Well, a lot of things. First of all, that the life is amazing, that we are lucky to be here and to enjoy and to meet a lot of people and to meet a lot of cultures and learn from them. This is one of the most important things that I learned. Is not always about winning or losing. It's about living experience and learning from them. I think this is one of the key points. And of course, all what sport is giving to me is like consistency, motivation, creativity. I think all these things are important, and this is what I try to teach to the new generations and to the kids. It's not always about winning or losing. This is a consequence of your work and the consequence of what the other athletes did against you. It's all about what you can do every day to do it better. And if you can improve, you will achieve your goal. Sometimes your goal is not to be first, it's to qualify for the second round, to be top 20, or to qualify for the games, or to qualify for America's Cup. And this is what makes sense in our sports life. If you don't think like this, maybe you can survive 1, 2, 3, 4 years, but you will be born out and you will never come back to sport life.
Yeah, true. That makes total sense. Like you said, it's not always about maybe like winning everything. It's about the small steps like qualifying or finishing top 20, stuff like this. It can be different goals.
Even in a training, to improve your training time or to fix this corner that you are having troubles, or even to fight in your mental way because you are a little bit afraid of this corner and to fight about the limit line. So it's all these small details make sense in the life, and these details, it makes amazing feeling when you achieve your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said before, now you have a kid yourself. So, from this like perspective of being a parent now, do you think it's important that kids are given the opportunity to play sports from a young age and get involved with sports in different ways?
Yes. Also, my wife Irina, she's a synchronized swimming coach. She was a silver medalist in synchronized swimming. I recommend her to do an interview. She has an amazing history, and as we understand sport is something that the kids needs to try to enjoy the life and to learn about the life using the sport. You can learn in the school, you can learn at home with the family, but of course, and especially, you can learn a lot when you practice sport. It doesn't care, or it's not important if it's football, if it's a skeleton, if it's korfball, if it's lacrosse. The important thing is that they practice sport and they have relation with other athletes, teammates, coaches, and all the things that the sport can give to them will be important. And the most important thing is to have fun. If you don't have fun, you'll be done and you will never enjoy. So you can have fun playing golf, you can have fun playing beach volleyball. I always think, and when I was working in La Liga Sports, there is no a big sport or sport more important than another one. Every sport has a magic thing. Every sport has something special. One of the latest sports that I was practicing was hockey underwater. I did a TV show in the Spanish TV, and this TV show has 13 chapters, and every chapter we talk about one sport. And I practice this sport. So we play Quidditch, the Harry Potter sport. We play dirt jump, parkour, and underwater hockey. So when I saw the families bringing the kids to play underwater hockey, it was amazing. They fall in love with this sport. So why this sport is minus than the other one or less important than the other one? It's not true. This is not like this. Every sport has its magic things, its important things, and this is what we need to show to the new generations. It's not about football or basketball. It's about having fun doing your sport.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. And I mean, talking about kids playing sports and you being a professional athlete, do you see yourself as a role model and someone who can inspire them to play sports?
Oof, I don't know. I think maybe yes, maybe not. I don't know how are the other role models. But one of the things that I always say in all interviews that in Spain, our system works that the Spanish government is giving the money to the federation, so the federation can pay the travel and all the things for the athletes. So the Spanish government is getting the money from all the people who live in Spain. So how I can return all the money that I got to practice sport? So the best way is going to the schools and show them what I did in my sports career. So if all the athletes who compete for Spain, who were in the Olympic Games, were able to go once a week, once a month to the different schools, I think we all will be role models and we will teach a lot to the new kids. And this system or this project, I hope one day the Spanish government can create it, because this will be another way to teach and show, and the new kids will learn a lot from the sports athletes, and this is another way to say thanks to the Spanish society.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that would be a great way to give back, like you said. But is that something that you do by yourself now, or is that an initiative with other athletes, or?
No, I do it by myself. It's difficult. I have a lot of calls and emails from different schools. It's difficult to organize the agenda. I never say no. So I don't know how many schools I did already in my sports career, but I always go to all the schools. I never ask for money because I think it's a way to give back all what I'm getting from the Spanish government and the Spanish society. So I think this should be something usual in all the countries, because at the end, they saw us in TV. And once you are there and say, hey, it's Ander, the one who was lying, I saw him in the TV. So it's amazing how much you can teach. I did a school before the quarantine, and it was amazing because during 3 months, they used the skeleton as a learning project. So If you are doing mathematics, you are learning the ground force, the times, the speeds. If you are doing skeleton with language, so they were learning English words. If you do the countries, they were putting in a map the situation of every track in the world. So at the end, you can use the skeleton as an excuse to learn from all the different signatures, and this was amazing, no? And I remember I should go. Well, I got the invitation to go to a school during the quarantine, and it was impossible because in Barcelona was everything locked down. So we did like how to say, an interview with all the kids, like a press conference. So during an hour and a half, they were asking questions, and like, I'm the media from blah blah blah. I would like you to ask you. So there were kids from 12, 13 years old, and it was super fun. And they learned a lot from my experience, and I was super happy to show what I was learning during these 16 seasons. No, at the end is another way to teach, and I think we should use this opportunity because there are a lot of athletes in Spain who will be able to give a lot to the new generations.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said before too, when you go to see the kids like this, they realize that it's not, superhumans. It's just athletes are humans. They are normal people, but they're following their dreams and they're working hard. So by going there in person, that probably gives them another perspective, maybe, than just seeing it on TV, I guess.
Yes, and they listen to you sometimes more than the teacher, because the teacher, they saw him every day or they saw her every day, and it's difficult, no? But you try to show them that you are normal, that you train as a normal athlete, that you cry, that you have fun, that you have injuries, that you have good results, that you have bad results, and you try to teach them the consistency, the creativity, the leadership, to be a good teammate, to help the other one, because if you help your teammate, you will be better, not about helping, because if you can improve, you will be able to improve. So all these small details are important, and the best way sometimes to show and to teach them is to be with someone who has been doing it, no? So I think it's a good thing that we should do more often in Spain.
Yeah. And when it comes to skeleton, I mean, you've been working a bit to grow the sport during the past few years. Where do you see the future in skeleton, or future skeleton in Spain specifically?
Well, I was really shocked. We did casting season after the Olympics. I think it was 2019 or 18, December, November 18. We did casting, and we got 110 emails, entry forms to do skeleton. It was completely crazy. 110. It was a big history in the news in Spain, and we took the best 11. There were one girl and one boy. They were under 16, so we also were not able to give them the opportunity to slide down. So we took the best 9 over this 110 to Austria and to Switzerland to slide down. And after that, Paula and Adriana were the 2 best athletes, one woman and one man. And this is now the new project and the new kids, and we will try to bring more people. So that shows that even if we are not a winter country, people want to try skeleton, and this is good. But the problem is that we don't have the resources, we don't have the tools. We are again in Spain, and it's easier to play beach volleyball to move to Austria and slide down. But I'm happy, and I think we are doing a great job. Also, one of the key points will be the Olympic Games in Pyrenees. That's the mountains that we have 2 hours from Barcelona. They're gonna fight for the Winter Olympic Games, and this can give us an opportunity to keep growing the sport. And it's amazing when I see and I look back, 16 seasons ago when I started. No one's know anything about the skeleton. Now, if you go outside in the street and you ask for a skeleton, probably they will tell you, a lot of people, what means a skeleton, and this is amazing achieve, more than what I was thinking. If you tell me you will arrive to 3 Olympic Games and people will know what's skeleton, I will say that's impossible, and this is what is happening at the moment.
Yeah, that's great, absolutely. And I mean, what are you looking to do essentially when you can't, but when you choose not to compete anymore? Are you looking to still be involved with the sport and coach, or?
Well, I don't know. It's a difficult question. I wish I will know. I got a few offers to be coached from another nations, big nations that they love or they like how I understand the sport. At the moment, at home in Spain, uh, I'm an athlete. I'm also a coach and also a sports director for Skeletons. So I'm doing 3 jobs at the moment. But of course, Spain doesn't have the resources and the tools. And once I finish, we will see what happened with the sport. That's one of my dreams, to leave the path, to leave the way clear so more people can go on, keep sliding, fight for the dream to be an Olympic athlete in a skeleton. Maybe Paula, one of the women that we have, maybe Adrienne also will be in the next Olympic Games. But in my personal thing, also I got an offer to be in a football club in the second division and also in the first division from La Liga. So maybe I move to another sport. I don't know. It's a good question. What I'm trying to do is what I'm trying to do now is to prepare myself for whatever it comes. Try to enjoy day by day. Last year I finished my master degree in sports director from football, master degree. So I don't know. We will see. I think it's not important, but what needs to be important is to be ready to find out what I want to do. So now I just put all the cards on the table and just keep playing. And when I find out, I will decide. I'm 100% sure about this.
Yeah, of course. It's not quite time to do that yet, I guess. But
you never know when is the time. But you need to be ready. This is what I'm gonna do the next days, weeks, months, years. My goal now is try to be in the next Olympic Games. But during these next 2 years, I need to be ready because you never know what will happen. So it can be an injury, it can be an illness, it can be a problem of motivation. And one of the things that I have 100% clear, I don't want to be hanging around the sport just for fun, just to be there. We need to achieve the goals. We need to be competitive. And this is an important thing. So we need to be ready because you never know when will be the last moment. So this is my goal at the moment. Be ready, enjoy every moment, slide as good as I can every day, and try to achieve the goal to be the next Olympic Games. But during the next 2 years, we need to be ready.
Okay. That sounds good. It sounds like you know what you want to do, but like you said, it's about being ready, and then you can't really decide. You never know exactly what's going to happen. So it's
Yeah, because for example, if it comes one of the best teams in La Liga and they say, Ander, I want you as a sports director from my football club, what are you gonna say? It's difficult to say no, for example, no. So I don't want to lie to anyone, no. And until 2 months ago, I was working in La Liga, and it was a great experience. I was 6 years there in the best sports company in Spain, La Liga. So you have a lot of contacts from different clubs, and a lot of people knows you. So you never know, no. And I know what's going on now, and I need to enjoy this moment and keep going and fighting for my goal. But you also know what's going to happen with the sports calendar this year. You don't know if it will be season, will be not season, if we will can slide, we will not be able to slide. So again, you need to be ready for everything. You cannot plan anything at the moment.
Of course. And do you think as well, with becoming a father, has that changed, how you see things? Has that impacted you in your career in any ways?
Well, I was afraid because there is a legend that says if you are father, you slide slower and you drive slower. And I know a lot of F1 pilots that they say, now you are a father, you slide 1/10 slower or you drive 1/10 slower. No, I think at the moment I'm sliding as good as ever. So I'm happy with this. Of course, it's harder to be out of home. It's harder to miss Irina and the baby, Kai. But Irina met me as a skeleton athlete, so she knows what it means to be a sport athlete. She has a silver medal in the Olympic Games, so she knows better than no one what it means to be traveling and training every day. But in the other side, you have a family, you have a responsibility, and of course, it's a little bit harder in the emotional way and sometimes in the mental. But this is what it is, and that's our life. So it's okay.
Okay. Well, that's good. And like you said, it's good too if your wife also has that type of experience. It's probably easier to understand what you're going through as well.
Yeah, it's easier to understand, but it's not easier to do it because now she's alone with the baby, and And I think if you have the chance to interview with her, she will explain you how hard it is to be a mom, how hard it is to be pregnant and not and when you got some offers to keep coaching and you told them that you are pregnant, they stop or they cancel the contracts because they are afraid. But you can be pregnant and you can coach. You can be a mom and you can coach. So it's difficult. So sometimes I feel sorry for her because she's taking care of everything when I'm away. But we know the rules and we talk about this and we talk a lot. So she understands the situations and this is how it is. And it's not a problem, but it's difficult because I wish to be a superhero and and be two places at the same time. But I don't have this the magic power at the moment. I'm not Superman, so.
No, that's not possible, unfortunately, of course. I also wanted to ask you, because you wrote a book as well, which is called Breaking the Ice in English, at least. It's not the official Spanish title, where you talk about essentially your journey, you know, becoming a Spanish Olympic skeleton pilot. What inspired you to write this book? I mean, why did you take the decision to write this?
Well, I have the official version and the other version. So I start with the other version. Well, when I was, I don't know how to say it in English, but when you move from the high school to the university, you need to do an exams. And I was always having 5/10 in the language exams and sometimes 4/10. So I was not really good in Spanish and in Catalan. And one day I did to my mom, "Don't worry, mom, I will move on to university. And one day I'm going to write the book." And she was laughing. They say, "You're going to write the book, but even you can pass the exams." Yeah, I'm going to pass the exam and everything. So this is one of the parts of the history. And when I made it to the Olympic Games, I was thinking, okay, I think it's time to explain all what happened. At this moment, with 150, 160 interviews after Olympic Games was completely crazy. And I decided to write a book, and they gave me different options. So do an interview when someone was writing the book for me. I say no, because I wanted to write it by myself, because that was the deal with my mom. So I was not getting money for it, but it was an amazing. And the second condition, it was, I told them that I didn't want to do an autobiography. It's about the journey. It's about the experience, about, for example, one day I was racing in Park City, in Salt Lake City, in Utah, in USA. And it was a really important race for the Olympic qualification. And I finished in Las Vegas. So what happened if you finish in Las Vegas at 11 o'clock at night and next day you have training in Salt Lake City? So you cannot do anything. So I just rent a taxi for an hour. I move around the city. I play, I think it was 50 euros, 100 euros. I got 300 or 400 euros. So with this money, I paid the entry fee for the competition and one day in the hotel or 2 days of my hotel. And then I arrived to the competition. I missed one training day and I compete the next days, and I did pretty well. So it's all about these histories, no? And for example, one of another good things is in one of the tracks, I had an injury. I called to a massage guy. And he told me that the next day I should go to his house because he has better resources to heal my illness or my injury at this moment. And when I arrived to the house, it was a 16, 17 million euros house. So I was completely shocked. And he was taking care of a house of a producer of Hollywood. So I was completely shocked. I was living in a pension in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly I was in a 17 million euros house. And I told him my history. I said, "Okay, Ander, you should call to the producer." So I called to the Hollywood producer, movie producers, and he invited me to stay in his house for the rest of the week. So I was living in a 17 million house for a week with my own jacuzzi, my own TV, my own movie theater, yard, everything. It was completely crazy, no? But these histories that happens, I told to my mom I should write it, and it was interesting. Also, when I had my crash and I finished in the hospital, how an angel, it was a nurse, she was taking really care of me. And when I wake up from my surgery, I thought it was Claudia Schiffer, no? So I was telling to the nurse, Claudia Schiffer, no? So after this, we had a good relationship. We were laughing, and well, all these funny things that happens in the journey to go to the games. It's not always about the results. It's always about the experience. So this book is talking about all these things.
So it's not only the serious stuff, it's like the fun stuff as well, everything that happened along the way.
Yeah. Also, there is a chapter about my nicknames. I think there are like 20 nicknames, and it's completely crazy. For example, when I was with the British team, my nickname was Spanish Meatball, no? Because they were always calm and everything. So I was always giving some spicy things to the conversation and having some fun, no? So explains a lot of things, and explains how I am through the journey and through the experience.
Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to read the book, but I want to read it. So, I mean, if anyone is listening and want to read it as well, where can they find it? Online or?
Well, the best suggestion is that contact me online. They can find it, but it's only the Spanish version. If you don't find online, they can contact me. I still have, I think, 100 to 150 books at home, so I can find out the way to do it. It's from 2014, so I don't know if a lot of bookstores still have it. But if not, we'll find a way. I don't think it's going to be bestseller, so I still have the chance to give them some books, no problem.
Okay. And if anybody wants to get in contact with you or follow you and, your training, your competition, where's the best place to do that? Is it Instagram or?
Well, I'm using a lot of Twitter. My name is Andre Skeleton, the same as also in Instagram. I try to post a lot of things. And I think one of the things I love to do is to chat with the people who ask me questions. I try to answer everything. They can find me also on Facebook, but I'm not really active on Facebook. And I have also my YouTube channel that I need to improve a little bit. But at the moment, my best way to find out what I'm doing every day and what I'm talking about is Twitter and Instagram. Normally, I'm just talking about the sport. I don't like to talk about politics. I don't like to talk about other things. So this is how it is. I think I miss a lot of followers because I'm really strict in my rules. But I think it's not about followers. It's about how you are. So I prefer to have less followers and talk about my things and post normal pictures than to post naked pictures or crazy things. So I'm not this kind of influencer.
Okay, makes sense. Well, anyways, we're gonna post the links to your Twitter and your Instagram and everything in the description, so people can find you there. And actually, the very last question that I have for you, like we said before, this podcast is really about showing that everyone has a different story, everyone has a unique story, and especially professional athletes, they go through a lot more than what we always get to see. So there's a lot of people, that have big dreams, old people, young people. And what advice would you like to give them in order for them to reach their goals?
Advice. I would love to give a lot of advices, but the best advice is to find their own way to achieve the goals, the best way to have fun, and the best way to find their team to do it. I think if I need to decide what's the best or the most important things to achieve their goals is, first of all, is to have fun. Second one, to do it with people that you really trust, a coach, teammates. And the third one is to be consistent and find out the best way to do it. I think one of the key points is to achieve every day different goals, every week different goals, every month different goals. So need to be like a consistent achievement of different things. And I think this is going to be the most important thing. But the key point is to have fun. If you don't have fun, it's going to be hard to achieve your goals.
Yeah, definitely.
And the most important thing is not always about being the best. It's always about doing your best. And this is also an important thing that people should not forget, especially when they have kids. They want to be the best football player, the best basketball player. Is trying to do the best by their players, but by themselves. So I think this is the most important thing, and we should never forget these things, especially when we go to watch our kids playing football or basketball or whatever sport. Let them play, support them, be them with them, and listen their histories, but let the coach work and let enjoy. about the sport live from them.
Yeah, let them have fun.
Yes, correct. This is the sentence.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ander, for joining us for the podcast. It's been obviously super interesting and very inspiring to listen to your stories and everything that you had to say. So we really appreciate it.
No, thank you to you. I love when people goes to the other side of the athletes, where people like you try to explain that the human part of the athletes, and I really love it. This conversation, it was like 5 minutes conversation, and I look, and it's a little bit more. So it was a pleasure. Thanks for your job, and good luck with the different interviews. And please follow the different podcasts. They are amazing histories. I'm 100% sure about this.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thank you, and we wish you all the best of luck, of course.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.